It's Steph Schuler here with Real and Raw, and I've got my co-host Heather. And today we are actually going to talk about something not relationship oriented, which is a first, but I'm going to actually go into like a continuation of the last episode. We had several people reach out to us asking what happened with the guy.
Yeah. Yes, gotta hear about it.
Yeah, so, whoa, she got excited. Start kicking up the mic over there.
Boom.
Boom. So anyway, what happened with the guy in the situation, which was the beer debacle that I had, right? Okay. Well, I ended up talking to, we'll just call him Mr. C, okay? Okay, so I finally broke down a couple days later, and I text Mr. C, and I said, hey, I'm really sorry. I should not have said what I said, basically, and I don't expect you to reach out to me again or respond to this, but I just want to let you know I'm really sorry that wasn't in my character. Obviously, it's a version of me, something along the lines of that. And he responded with, no problem. I know that's not you. He said, I should have responded with, who is this? Because apparently, if you read that text above, I told him to lose my name and my number, or maybe just my number. I'm not sure, but he didn't. Enough. I said, look, I don't have it saved. He said, well, I do. And I'll send it to you. And oh God, I wrote that. Oh, I'm so sorry. So anyway, all is good. We are definitely talking again. We are friends. And he did not hold that one instance against me. He did say, don't blame it on your mother and father. I'm like, I didn't blame it on my mother and father. He's like, stop bringing in
we got a little bit deep with my elevator experience, and you're pinching, and that was all because somebody walked out, and you had tequila.
Somebody walked out in a bar. Yeah, right. He's like, stop blaming it on your 9-year-old self.
I was pinched and and then you walked out on me.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if he
And Heather was almost molested at a Canadian elevator. Yeah, fuck you.
Right. So anyway, all is well, and thanks for those who reached out to see how that recovery situation, if there was a recovery situation, and there was. So anyway, all right. So let's get on to what the topic for today, which is psyops. Okay, it is mind control. It is, what do you call it? Social
engineering.
Social engineering. And so this is something that we want to talk about that's happening in the United States, okay? And about, I would say 10 years or less, maybe like around 10 years ago, I could care less about any of this stuff. I was like drinking the Kool-Aid hard. I was vaccinating my kids. I was just following the rules because I thought the rules were there to help and serve us,
You
right?
were following the media that was sponsored by Pfizer the whole time and all these big farm corporations.
Right. And I don't want to call myself like this huge conspiracy theorist. I just consider myself a person who, and I probably would be labeled by anybody who isn't a conspiracy theorist, but I'm like something when patterns don't add up to me, or when they start to show me things, I should rather say, I start to look and go, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And so I'll start to dig in, and I know you're very much, you've got that, like you've got the queen crown for conspiracy.
Oh, no.
You get the queen crown there, ma'am. But so what do you think, first of all, and I want us to stick to really just showing the current situations that are happening that do contain psyops that the military uses, that, just like any of these organizations, the media. I mean, my God, we are just all getting hammered by a lot of brainwashing. I mean, that's, so go ahead. I'm going to shut up now.
Well, no, I just think let's ask why. Why do we think that's happening, and why has it been happening, and how long has it been happening?
Right.
So
what's currently happening now? Can we just dive into COVID? And can you explain to those who maybe are not sure, that like they've heard, oh, wow, yeah, we got lied to. Okay. We got lied to about a lot, and not just lied to. We were manipulated. Okay. A lie is one thing. A lot of people, this was a orchestrated, what would you call it?
Well, it is a psyop, and it isn't a mind control thing, and it is about controlling the masses in a social experiment to see how far can we go, how far can we get with this.
So, what did they do during COVID?
Well, I think it's a lot of things happened, and it's not just COVID. I mean,
I know, but I want to start with COVID because people, we were all there. Okay,
yeah,
we weren't all in China, we weren't all in Russia, but we can say that whoever is here, we all experienced COVID.
We did. And my daughter even said to me, that was the worst thing I've ever gone through. And she was really young at the time. And I thought to myself, it probably is going to be the worst thing you've ever gone through. Hopefully that's it. But I think for people like us, and I don't know, there are many of us out there, but there are many, many more that are not. I knew the minute they announced it, this is bullshit.
Me too.
Bullshit, and it's because of it were so many things. The election and controlling and money and power.
The timing for all of this was like, if you really do pull yourself out emotionally and just start to kind of look at a timeline, you see these timelines go throughout history, actually, around elections. I mean, there's always this mass something happens, right?
Yeah.
To scare people and these fear tactics that are involved. So let's start with...
Yeah, it's a fear tactic, and it's one that's pretty old, one that's been used for a very long time.
And it keeps working. I mean, why not?
It's working, so why change the model? It's working.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Create a monster. It's create a monster.
Okay, so monster being a virus.
Anything.
Let's just go with the virus. Okay.
The virus that isn't just it was manipulated
Correct,
too,
right?
And we can get into all of that, gain of function, and how they made it much more deadly to the human person.
Well, it was intentionally
done. That's been proven. But at the time, if you said these things or suggested that, oh no, this was in wet markets and contamination in wet markets. Well,
the bats.
We've found that it really came from a lab leak. Came from a lab leak.
Yeah.
Leak.
So, okay. So let's start with, I want to walk somebody who may not believe what we're saying. I want to walk them through quickly.
Okay.
COVID. So we get these calls, a few weeks before we start hearing all these, there's a breakout here, there's a breakout there, right?
Yeah, and a couple celebrities step up and say, we have it, and we're so incredibly ill.
That's a big point right there, because when psyops are being used, a lot of time the entertainment people, the musicians, right, whomever, like people of influence, seem to step up and have these issues. And so they have huge followings, right? And I feel like that's part of this as well. It's not like they're just these wonderful human beings who,
huge followings.
And they're getting huge payoffs for this.
Connections to some of the, outside agencies that are in charge of controlling, the mass, the populations, and, their perspectives on things and their opinions on things. Controlling what we believe.
Right. Well, they're doing it through that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Through connected.
Our politicians.
Right.
Through.
So are they genuine when they say, "Oh, we're so sick.
Right.
We're self-isolating in Australia and places like we're very sick." Maybe you are very sick.
Right.
Why are you very sick? What are you very sick from? What is this? What is this thing? What is this thing?
Okay. So let's just stop there for a second. When this is happening, who do you believe is orchestrating this? So why would this celebrity get on and do this? One, maybe they're getting paid, possibly. And these are just speculations, right? But there's been a lot of stuff that was proven about, people speaking out and getting paid for basically these types of starting mass hysteria and getting people to buy into what they're saying, even if it's not truly authentic.
It's hard to know exactly who. I don't think it's one person. I think it's a group of people, and I think they're, in that globalist group of people who are considered the elites of the planet, who, honestly, I think, yes, they are evil in what they're doing, but I think they themselves believe This has to be done. We're going to lose this planet. We are overpopulated. The resources are limited. There's only so many of us that should be able to remain here. There are feeble, useless eaters out there who are draining the system, and we have to implement something called eugenics. It's been happening for a very long time. People don't want to hear it. It's very uncomfortable. It's scary. You have to address it. You have to acknowledge it, and you have to believe it. And nobody wants to. Not nobody.
No, not nobody. But it is scary. Okay, so what you're saying, I believe, is accurate. That's at least
It is. It is accurate. It's been going on long before World War I and II.
Right. Yeah. So keep going. I like you're on a roll.
No, I just think that that's what it's about. I mean, there are different white papers that have been written. You can go through, population control and the plan, and it's well written. And
Okay, wait. Let me stop with the population control, because that is a huge, which one of these philanthropists he talks about
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates talks about depopulation. I mean, there's so many, even,
he has
what was it? Kamala Harris talked about depopulation. Like, you start to see when they keep using these phrases, why are they saying that? And
he specifically said, and we will have to find it, Mark, or whoever, we'll find the clip where he does say we have a population issue, and thankfully we have these vaccines.
Right.
I mean, and a lot of the work is happening in these African villages where we can't go and prove these things. It's just
right. And they're getting tons and tons of money being funded through our taxpayer dollars.
And USAID, and everybody knows through all of this discovery with Doge and everything else. I mean, whether you are a fan or not.
Regardless.
Huge agency,
fraudulent.
Corporation,
it was fraudulent.
Whatever you want to call it, that was using our and here's the kicker: we're paying for our own demise. Do people know that?
Right.
That we're funding our demise.
That's the part that pisses me off. I'm like, listen. I mean, the whole thing pisses me off.
The whole thing.
But you are going to make money off of my money to enslave me.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Sign me up. Fuck you.
Right. We're taking it. We're ripping you off.
Right.
And then on top of it, we're going to make you unhealthy. We're going to give you something, and then you're going to be dependent on the system via vaccine, via the food supply, via the water supply, and then you're going to have to come in with autoimmune shit and cancer and everything.
Yeah, and so then they're going to make more money off of us being sick.
Yes.
So, like, it's just we get to pay. Fuck you, pay me. Fuck you, pay me.
It really is like the movie Matrix, how they're all plugged in and they're like in those cocoons and just.
I believe it.
It really is like
okay, so let's talk about the education system, because as we know, I had a couple of kids of mine that we just don't align politically, and I think that's okay. But that has been, I would say in my life with my own children, that has been the hardest piece recently, or actually in our whole, lives together, is this political piece. And I do believe that the psyops that have been, ingrained and utilized through the education system from when they were little,
It's extremely frustrating, and it's a huge bone of contention, because these minds that are absorbing like sponges, and they have no wisdom. They don't have wisdom yet. They're just listening to others who they are portrayed or seemingly have this authority.
Well, authority. That's part of this whole psyops too. Is the authority.
The authority, and they spend all of these hours with them day after day in schools and other institutions, and they're imposing their political opinions on our kids. They come home and get pissed off and say, "Well, Mom, why didn't you? What did you say? This and that." And it's very frustrating.
Well, it is frustrating.
You have to re-educate.
And not all teachers are like that. I don't know. It's not that, but there is a push in that education system, I believe, from what I've seen, my own kids being in there, to really, it is about funding. Where's the funding coming from? What are they willing to do? I even had a child who he shouldn't have graduated. He was slacking off and not going to class, and I realized, I was like, you need to hold him accountable. I had, a teacher or a principal conference thing. and they basically just wanted to get him out the door. And I realized at that moment, I was like, you know what? They just want to not look bad for their numbers so that they can get funding.
It's not true.
It's not
care.
really about, and so when you start
It's not.
that's a very like a singular example of, it's not, we think they're trying to help us. And I'm not just talking about the education system, just all these institutions.
Especially the public education
Yes,
system.
public. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That, no, that really wasn't about helping my son. That was about them keeping as much money coming in and their stats to look a certain way. It really had nothing to do with
And the money that's coming in, are they corrupt or are they budgeting correctly? Do they really care?
Who knows?
What are they doing? What's
Yeah, and
happening
I'm not talking about, our own, my kids' schools. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, like generally, in general, like, you have to start, I think if people start to ask questions and want to
They
know.
don't like questions.
They don't, I know, and that really is frustrating.
Independent thinking is just not,
it's not in.
Critical thinking, independent thinking outside of the box, and not being in those group think tanks.
Right.
They really push group think tanks. This is a think tank I want to work for. Oh, Google think tank and Apple think tank and TED and these talks and think tanks.
Well, they get you all kind of in the same mindset.
Yeah, well, and then you invest, right?
Yeah.
And this is your social network, and
right,
now you're part of this academy of whatever.
Another group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're important now, and you have all these credentials, and something happens, and you go, oh, that doesn't sit right with me.
Right.
And you might mention something, and all of a sudden, you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
You're ostracized. Get out of here. We don't want you.
Right.
Because you asked a question that maybe
they don't want you to ask. Yeah. And that really is a lot.
Scary.
Yeah. And there's so many different ways that these brainwashing events are happening, right? I'm going to bring one up. I'm just going to say Black Lives Matter, and I'm sure people are going to say whatever they want, but this is my opinion and this is my experience with it.
It's far enough into it now that you can say all of that.
Yeah, because from the very beginning, so I had a company, it was a skincare company, and I had a girl who ran our social media. She was half Black and she was half Puerto Rican. Okay. And now, just so everybody knows, I am 37.5% Cherokee, or not Cherokee, American Indian. And it's actually called Lumbee tribe. And I'm half Mexican. Okay. So I'm not here sitting as like some, I guess what people like, I hate the phrase. I actually will say hate the phrase. Privileged woman, or whatever,
White,
like,
stop
it. Stop all day long with that nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I am, I guess they call it a woman of color. I don't want to call it that, but I'm just basically saying I have the right to say this, people. So just make sure you know who you're talking about before you start sending me hate grams, okay?
Right.
And
that's a whole other thing.
No, well, it is. It's so silly.
Like, I don't have the right because I'm a white girl.
Yeah, but apparently, it's so fucked up. Yeah. It is fucked up, and we're acting like this is normal behavior to act like this.
Yeah.
Stop it with the racism. Stop it right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm a little bit excited.
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
I got my story after you. Go.
Okay, so we're going through the social media calendar, and she shows me this. This is at the very beginning of I think what was his name?
George Floyd.
George Floyd had just died. Black Lives Matter. It was right in the beginning of COVID. Everybody started throwing up these black boxes on their social media. And I saw that she had that in a post. And then I saw that she had like a donation of a percentage of our products to this fund for this guy, right? That died. And I said, no. And she looked at me and she was like, what? What do you mean? I said, all lives matter. And I know that I'm going to get slammed for saying that, but I don't give a shit. All lives matter, not just black ones, not just white ones, not just brown ones. I don't give a flying fuck who you are. Everyone matters. And until we start to use that as our baseline, racism, they're just creating racism with
when
this.
The average person who has a brain cell and thought process and a little bit of intuition started to ask, well, wait a minute, don't all lives kind of matter?
They do, but they do.
It was immediately like, oh my God, We need a PR campaign against that now.
Yeah.
Anyone who says that, you label them as a racist.
Right, and that's the psyop. That's another
That's a
psyop.
psyop.
That's another
Don't
psyop.
let them say it because it makes too much sense now.
Well, of course not. So here's this girl. She's telling me, Steph, I don't understand. We're gonna look like. I said, I don't care what we look like because we're not that. I said, I was your first client. I gave you your first shot. You've known me for 4 years. Is there any part of me that is remotely racist at all that you can think of? No, absolutely not. I said, and I have been discriminated against once or twice in my life. I said, but the fact is, racism isn't as rampant as the media and people who are paid to act as if it is.
They want it
right?
to be.
It's
very
bullshit.
profitable. It's profitable.
It's bullshit.
Mhm.
Okay. Yes. Does it happen? Sure. But it's happening to white people. They are getting the opposite of it now.
Yeah.
What is that? Reverse racism.
Yeah, but guess what? There's no such thing.
No, but see, that's
There's
what
no
I'm
such
talking
thing.
about. Like, we need to stop normalizing calling everybody a racist just because you don't like what they had to say to you, just because they don't like your work ethic doesn't mean it's your skin color. And stop acting like it is, because a lot of times it isn't, right? I don't care.
It's in the playbook. It's in the
It
playbook.
is. So that one is a huge one. And that one is a real source. And I told the girl, look, we're not putting those up there. I don't believe in that. I said, that guy, I am sorry that he died. And that wasn't right. But however, I'm not going to give money. He's a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
He's stop, memorializing a person that was a bad fucking person. But what that psyop, I believe, was created for that was a whole movement, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then we got to funnel way more money, like $90 million fucking dollars they gave to this organization that did not give back to their communities.
Well, they finally came. So many of them realized this. We didn't benefit from any of this.
No!
It was just these
It was a sham.
few women at the top who went and lived in these really rich. They took the money and went and bought homes in these really rich white neighborhoods.
Yeah, and how many people still have those damn signs all in their yard? I'm like,
Oh.
wake the fuck up,
Okay.
people.
So about the signs.
Yeah,
So,
I still see them, and I'm like, how's that even, like, it's been a long time. I mean, is that thing laminated? Like, that's a really,
Yeah. So
like,
I have a really good friend. Okay, he's a Black American, and he played football in college, and he's very proud of his heritage and his culture. He's originally from Mississippi. He has 3 homes. There's one. His name's Edward. Hi, Edward, if you're listening. He has a home in San Diego, one outside of Denver, and then one in Vegas. Very successful guy. Drives a Lamborghini.
he's
He has-
financially successful.
financially successful.
Okay.
Conservative guy.
Okay, got it.
For the most part, yeah. So he's driving through this neighborhood, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And he sees this, like, I guess it's a predominantly liberal white neighborhood. He told me
Okay.
this woman's out in her yard doing her yard work with a Black Lives Matter sign in her yard.
Okay.
A white lady.
Okay.
So he pulls over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Hey, that sign, And she goes, "Yeah." And she puts her fist up, and he's like,
Fist pumping.
fist pumping him. And he goes, "Yeah, like I always thought my life mattered. Like, do you? Is that why you put that there? You weren't sure about mine?" She's like, "What?" And he goes, "Well, obviously you know somebody
That's
who
black.
doesn't think my life matters. So
Right.
is it your neighbor? Is it your friend? Is it a group of people that you felt that you had to put that up there
Oh, yeah.
to say Black Lives Matter?" He
Right.
said, "Because any white person I'm friends with, anybody I know, really has always thought that. So have I.
Right.
My daughter's half
That
white.
wasn't even a thought. Yeah.
He is his ex-wife is white. He said, so I would like to know who that supports that thinks my life doesn't
Right.
matter, because I would like to talk.
Right. That makes you want to put that in
Put
your
that
yard.
out. 'Cause
Yeah.
you think somebody needs to be
Yeah.
told
She's
that.
not thinking any of that.
So she's like, and he goes, "No, really, I just want to know
Right.
who do I need to speak to
Right.
to find out why they didn't think my life mattered, because I've never had that experience."
Right. And a lot of and
She
that's
was-
what a lot of people say.
Uh-huh.
They don't.
She was pissed. "You're an Uncle Tom," or whatever they're called.
Oh, wow.
You,
Growing
fuck
up.
you. And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." And he just sped off in his
Yeah.
freaking Lamborghini. Like, "I'm
Nice.
successful.
Yeah.
I've made it here." And
Right. My
I mean-
blackness didn't keep me down.
right. And I'm proud of it.
Right.
So that was what happened with that. And I
Okay.
thought that was the greatest story
I
ever.
love that. And
Yeah,
I
it was
do,
great.
but I feel that, again, that's another one of those psyops is divide, division,
Divide and conquer always works.
always.
Always.
I mean, even with, okay, I'm going to go.
It works.
Gonna go flip to the guns, right? Okay, so I've noticed in the last, I don't know how many years, when the media talks about guns, which you're a gun owner.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably have one packing today, aren't you?
I mean, I don't know. Do I? I have a license to carry, though.
I want a license to carry, and I want a little lady pistol. I'm not quite sure what I would do with it, but.
Well, I was carjacked. That's another story. So
Oh.
years ago. So ever since then,
Okay.
yeah.
Yikes. I don't want to have that
I'm
happen.
proud. Hey,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, but
has the right to
I
protect
do. I
themselves.
think that I do feel like if we lose our guns, we're dead in the water. Like
as
that's
long
yeah.
as the bad people have them, the good people should have them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And and the government has them. We need them too.
Yep. And we
Just in case.
Yeah, that's what I guess
Yes.
Hitler did that. Mark was mentioning earlier. Disarm the population.
Yes.
That's the
Disarm
first step.
them. Of course it is.
First
And
step.
so what I have noticed in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years is the heavy press to ban guns. And I'm like, no. That's communism coming, people. I know you don't see it singularly.
Tyranny.
Yes.
What fascism, communism, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Dictatorship.
Strip us of our weapons.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like, what country does that work
I
in?
think
That's
we're the
happened?
last one standing. For
Yes,
that.
exactly. So think about it, people. Like, it is not a left or right thing. It is right now. We are actually, I feel, fighting for our humanity. It's such a different thing. That's why I got involved. That's why we started this podcast.
What I would love people to do, and I do this, you do this, we've been doing it for a while, but I would love to challenge people to just try to do this. Just think for a minute. If you pull into, let's say, a school and you see a big sign that says gun-free zone, okay? And everybody in there is proud. We don't carry guns. But if you are a criminal who wants to,
Yeah.
where
That's
are
a
you
playground.
Where are you gonna freaking go? Are you gonna go to the gun-free zone, or are you gonna go to the school that there's a guard that has a gun there?
Right.
Where are you going?
Right.
It's almost like an advertisement.
Right. Well, that's when they were defunding the police, right? The people that, like, if you need them, you want them there, right? I never understood that. I'm like, there are bad people in every occupation, okay? But again,
There's a
whole
bad apple
media,
everywhere, yeah.
no, the media went after the police,
Yeah.
right?
It's an umbrella. And
it could have been entertainment people as well. I don't remember that specifically.
that have their own private security teams.
Yes.
Those ones.
Yes, those ones, because they're like, but I'm like, they're just
They
lying.
don't want anybody else to be protected. But they
Well, they-
deserve to be.
They have an agenda.
Yeah,
right.
an agenda.
There's somewhere someone told them, yeah, I'm either going to pay you to do this or
Well, and they're not. Let's face it. They're not really all that intelligent. They think they are.
No.
They're malignant narcissists who've been, celebrated and uplifted. You're so wonderful. Look at you. Smoke and mirrors, right?
Right,
They're not
right.
really living an everyday experience.
right. Well, it's a job.
It's a job.
And so that's a job,
To
and
be a fake- yeah.
to be fake, but to be an actor and act like
Yeah.
you're not fake,
Right,
right?
right.
The bad ones don't last too long. I don't think
No,
they don't.
really.
They don't make airtime,
No. And
No.
so there's got to be something in your personality to make you successful with that. But
right?
whatever.
Okay, so DEI, I just want to talk a little bit about it because I had a discussion with a friend of mine who we are on completely different, camps on this. I don't believe in it. And she's like, well, you're Mexican. I said, the color of my skin or my ethnicity, my last name should have no bearing on my skill set level and if I get this job. She goes, well, but it does. I said, okay,
No.
I do understand.
It's merit.
You know what?
It's merit based.
It should be, but here's again
Should be,
the real world. There's probably, I'm not going to make up a number, but maybe we'll just say there's 20% of companies that they're like, fuck you, we don't like black people or we don't like Mexican people. Okay, that doesn't mean that's them, and they're gonna be that way for however,
matter what.
yeah, no matter what,
Yeah.
right? But you don't change a whole system to cater to the bad apples. And that's what has happened. And that's why, to me, it doesn't work because if you really want equality and you want fairness in a
They don't.
right, but it's
they don't.
bullshit. It's not.
It's much deeper. And that's another thing to challenge people to really look deeper. Why are they pushing this?
Right.
Are they pushing it because they really believe that just because of the color of your skin and whatever, all of that, that you are
It's a good
capable?
It's a good narrative to spin.
It's a good narrative, but it is one more method to cheapen and just degrade an entire system on purpose.
Absolutely. And that's
On purpose.
Welfare. I'll go here too, because my dad's side of the family, most people, half of his family was on welfare their entire lives. On my mom's side of the famay, again, at least
then it
half,
becomes
if not more.
generational.
Yeah,
It's
it
generational.
really was.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting here talking to my white privileged friend females, right? And one of them was like, I can't believe that you're conservative. I said, well, I didn't start off conservative. I just started
It's
to,
like, what
yeah.
does that mean, though?
Yeah. I mean, she said, you are Mexican. How can you not, vote Democratic? And I said, the color of my skin should not determine what my brain thinks and my values are. I said, but let me just tell you something. I go, do you know anybody on welfare? Crickets. I said, exactly. I go, but you know what? I know about 45 real people that I could pick a fucking phone up and they would pick up the Obama phone that they were given. Okay. And these people are family members. These people are people that I know in my personal life that you know not a one of them. And I will tell you, the system isn't working for them. They are kept down. They live these very
Basic.
no, it's not even, it's just this, like a
like a complacent
treadmill.
hamster
They're
wheel.
just
Hamster
on a
wheel.
treadmill.
Yeah,
And
they are.
I know one, my uncle, he was on it till the day he died. I think he had like one real job in his life early on. But then the system got him to vote Democratic. They did. I'm sorry. That's what a lot of them do. They get bussed in. It's not something, like it's just something that happens. And they paid for him to live in some, public housing that was awful, but they gave him just enough money, just enough to live. That looks a lot like China. That looks a lot like China, people. And if you really start to look at what communism is outside, right? I mean, we don't live it. We're partially living it. It's starting to, yeah.
It's in our healthcare system.
It's
time.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's starting to.
Well, and
they're like testing it.
Well, and the big question is, who is benefiting from it? People that are pushing it, that are actually selling this product. It's their product. We're going to sell it. Do you think, God bless him, Vladimir Putin, I don't hate him completely, but I don't think he's great, but do you think he's living a communist? Do you think he's living as a commoner?
No.
Is Xi Jinping living as a commoner? Is Kim Jong-un living as a commoner? No, they're not. They are living opulent lifestyles. They're among the richest on the planet.
Right.
But they're selling it. So is Bernie Sanders. It's his product. He's selling it. People are passionate about it. Listen to what Bernie says.
You got to watch what people do in their life. That's the thing.
What are they doing?
Yeah. What do you really stand for? Are you really,
your words are bullshit.
Well, they are. They are. And a lot of times you can just kind of see it. You're like, God, that's so flat. But okay, let's get back to the PSYOP. So when COVID happened, remember all of the, I wouldn't say all, most of the media was verbatim using the exact same lines. And we'll put those across the screen. Yeah. We're going to put those across the screen in just a minute.
I remember Elon Musk even posted that on his X account. Like, he said, wow. And it was just,
you've got like the exact same sentence that every news media outlet that was purchased by what's his name,
Murdoch,
yes,
and whoever, Soros is in there.
Yeah, but anyway, it's all the same thing, and the messaging was basically, if you don't if anybody in your family isn't vaccinated, they're harming you and others. Okay.
The old lady, you're
Yes.
killing the granny.
My kid was like, and he since is upset that he got the vaccination, but he said
Yeah,
he
it's a
at the
shame.
time he said, "Mom, I got brainwashed."
Yeah.
He's like, I bought into it. He said, "I'm so sorry," because he was like, "You're gonna kill grandma," and I was
And
like,
that's what's so sad.
Yeah.
We knew this was going to happen.
We
and
did.
I kept saying to my friends who were like this, like us, I kept saying, I don't want to be right. I don't want to say, I told you so. You shouldn't have gotten vaccinated. I don't want to have to do that
Right.
because now they have this in their bodies.
Right. But okay, so what Fauci said, we're going to put that up there too. But there's a little short video that really does speak to him getting called out and busted.
Coercion.
Yeah.
Coercion.
Yeah. And when you have to do, I just want people to understand that maybe don't agree with us.
Yeah.
The logical side of you, if there is one.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Tap in.
Yeah. Just sit
Why-
by yourself and think about it. By
Why
yourself.
would he need to say all that, right? If this was really beneficial to us.
And the next question would be, why would he need a pardon before Biden left office to exonerating him from everything from this date to this date? Why would he need that?
Well, because they found
Why
out
would he need
a
it?
lot of information afterwards. But I mean, so that isn't anything new. Like, we all know we were lied to, we were manipulated. Like, I don't care if you're on the left or on the right. You just have your own mind.
Just your own thought process.
We got punked and played.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I think what happens is people start to double down on their own stupidity and how they
Because
treated
it was
other
time invested.
Well,
Time.
because time, but they also mistreated a lot
They
of
did,
people.
they did.
So when you mistreat other people and you find out that, oh, you weren't so right, that's hard.
They were acting like fascists.
Oh
Throw them in
yes.
jail, put them in camps.
Yes.
Don't let them have
Being
hospitalization.
being fired.
Don't let them come into the hospital if they get sick.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, this was like, if you really stop and think about it, this is what they did in communist China, like
Deny
when it
them-
was first started.
And Nazi Germany. It's two sides of the same coin. Fascism, extreme communism, same coin, two sides of it.
Yeah, and so what's the okay?
Tyranny.
So is socialism just like this watered down version? I'm not quite sure.
Yes. I mean, it is communism. It is communism, but it's just how much of it?
Right.
It's, how much of socialism, like what's there's a spectrum of it. Socialism.
Right.
When you get really extreme to the left, and then you're getting, really, really communistic. When you get really extreme to the right, you're getting really, really fascist.
Right.
So,
I think
it's kind of like right now, I feel like we have no other choice. It's you're either on the fascist side or the socialist side. And just because we're saying these things today, it's immediately from some people, Trump. You're Trump.
No.
Why does it always translate to Trump? It
No.
shouldn't.
No, because by the way, I had these thoughts when I was a Democrat. Now I was just opening my eyes to a lot
Independent
of
for me,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, but it's a really hard place to fall, right? But I believe it. I don't believe in everything Trump's doing.
I don't either.
I don't. I'm
I don't
not.
either.
I mean,
and I don't have to have dinner. I mean, he's not my boyfriend. I don't have to,
No.
do I think he's, but our opinions, just because we are free thinking and critically thinking, automatically in this day translates to you're a fascist Trump supporter.
Again, but trying to throw, and when these things, like I start to look at when people are having conversations with me, they're like, oh, did you vote for Trump? Whatever. And then they just start rattling off, oh, he's a, he's misogynistic, he's a racist, and I thought, like, you're speaking about things, like, if I ask you to give me an example, I don't think you can.
No,
Something about grabbing my pussy or whatever. But listen, remember that saying or whatever? I can't remember what it was that, he got a lot of flack, still does on that. But if I'm going to be honest, I've said way worse.
Oh God.
I mean, even between you and I, our conversations, they're raunchy. And I'm not saying that what he said was okay, but we take things so out of context. It was in a locker room with other men, right?
Yes.
Like, if I was in a locker room with you or in a car with you and 3 other girls, our conversation would get so raunchy that it would make that little conversation look like something,
And
a guy's speaking on in a sermon,
but yes, but the fact that we even have to like with everything going on in the world right now, these are big issues. This is the biggest issue. It's a matter of survival of just regular people, and now we're having to take it down to the level of, well, he said grab a pussy. I mean, I don't care about that.
Right.
I'm not even like a full blown Trump. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like,
I just want people to understand that your free thinking is being
hostage.
slowly encroaching. It's eroding. It's a slow, insidious process, little by little by little. Because if it's too much at once, then you notice it, right?
Right. Right.
It has to be a slow
Yes.
process over a decade.
Decades for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so just sit and think for yourself for once. Turn the TV off.
And ask yourself, this is what I would say. Like, okay, so I keep parroting that he's he's a racist. Okay, well, where?
Right.
Where?
Give me an example.
Find the examples, right? So don't speak about things that, you're just generalizing that you've heard on 15 other, network stations or social media. Oh my gosh. Like that is to me the biggest pot of
it is so bad for your mental health when all of that, when you're just too involved in that social media and our kids and their phones. It's almost like we have so much work cut out for us.
That's the news, right?
Yeah.
That's where they're getting their news, and anybody can say anything,
Yeah,
right?
anyone can say anything.
So
and
the stuff that I hear is like all this parroting, and I'm like, well, give me examples. That's all. When somebody gets upset with me,
well,
personally,
then there's a demon that will come out. Wow.
Yeah,
Like,
well, that's
they
because the
can't do
protection,
it.
the protection of supporting whatever their thinking is. But I do believe it goes deeper into. It's hard to admit that you were wrong.
Oh,
right. So I'm gonna keep double, triple, quadruple.
It's
downing on
easier
this.
to live in cognitive dissonance and willful ignorance than it is to say, you know what, I screwed up. I think I was believing in something from my gut and my heart, and people were telling me, but it really wasn't real.
maybe I mistreated a few people along the way, and I acted like a total, like I'm sitting on my pedestal and I'm better than you, which that happened a lot.
Families were breaking up, but guess what? There were a few people really, high up there thinking, this is great. This is exactly what we want.
Right. Well, they were like, how these idiots, it worked. It was so easy.
What
I mean,
about
like
the-
corralled them in
dummies?
corralled them in their houses. And again, when you, like, if you start really thinking about it, nobody was pushing, hey guys, why don't you at least go outside in your backyard, get some fresh air, go play outside. It was stay indoors. Fear.
But
everything was fear-based.
But everything they were pushing, everything they pushed was the exact opposite of what we should have done to
Right.
respond to this COVID thing.
Right.
Which was stay indoors. No, we needed vitamin D.
Yeah.
Don't work out. Don't go to the, yes, we needed to stay healthy. Do this, don't do that. Everything they told you to do, you shouldn't have. It was the opposite.
Well,
So now you have to remember that.
Even I forget what the percentage is. It was very low for anybody under 18 to actually, be harmed by it. Yet we shut all the school systems down.
Yeah.
Right. So there's like to start to think why. So all these kids now are online. I mean, I remember that was a fuck show.
It was a whole re-engineering. It was a whole re-engineering.
Well, it was
social re-engineering, but by people who are considered social Darwinists. Okay.
Yeah.
They're really into the eugenics, and they believe in it, not because they're like evil genius mad people, because they believe that there is a hierarchy and there is a superiority level that it has to, and that we are this human livestock,
right.
herd mentality.
Yes.
And we need to be controlled because we don't know any better. We can't take care of ourselves, basically.
Right.
And
right.
so, yeah, it's a whole.
Well, I just feel
really-
like, this whole indoctrination of so many things, right? Like it's hard to decipher now truth from manipulation. Honestly, in the news. And so I do feel for a lot of, I feel for all of us, but some of the younger generations that come in, like now the wheels are really moving nicely, right? At a nice clip. So part of it, something I read this book, it's called Life and Death in Shanghai, and it's this true story about a woman who they arrested her. It's her whole, life into not selling out and telling a lie, right? Because they wanted her to say that she did something and then they would free her. But instead, she's like, I'm not going to lie. No, that's not what happened.
Right.
And
Right.
so she was in there for, I think, 6 or 8 years. Isolation.
What a
like,
brave person.
yeah, no, sick. They tried
Wow.
to basically kill her. And I mean, the story is amazing. And I would suggest anybody who wants to see what communism looks like, read this book. It's called Life and Death in Shanghai. And it just changed my whole perspective because I could see a lot of what was happening in this book transpiring to real time in the United States, right?
Yeah.
And that was frightening. The separation of family that I, have experienced, I saw it in this book and I was like, oh my God, that's the same. Oh my God, those are the same thoughts and wording that, a lot of the young people who are, fighting up against their parents and ostracizing them and not speaking to them it's like political bullying by your, family members.
Oh yeah.
And that's a psyop. That is not who you really are. You've just been taken over as a hostage, and I don't think most people even recognize it. That's the frightening piece.
No, and another one I would suggest as many people as possible could get your hands on is something called Rules for Radicals, written by a man by the name of Saul Alinsky out of Chicago. He was like a mentor to Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. They were community organizers.
Oh.
The common core. That is communism. Everything in that book is designed, is a psyop.
Right.
Whatever your opposition is doing, or whatever you're doing, you accuse your opposition of doing. You constantly ridicule them. Everything in this book, if you go through it and you read it, you think, oh my God, this is what they're doing. This is what they've been doing. This is what they're going to continue to do.
The word ridicule is probably the best one that I haven't thought of. And you just said that. That's what I feel is happening when people are presenting their own personal ideas and beliefs that don't fall in line with the psyops that have been created.
Right. It's an immediate
like,
you're a dummy.
Yeah. Like, are you that stupid? Like, I'm so much better than, and that.
Well, because
that's exactly what it's ridicule.
Well,
that's the word.
And all of this academia is, Ivy League schools now, right?
Right. Yeah, but who's funding them?
Well, we know who's funding them.
Exactly. So, like, I don't always say it. I think a lot of people do. Follow the money. Mm-hmm. Where is the money coming from? Who's getting the money, and who's giving the money?
Some of these programs, we're going to study transgenderism in Palestine and how it affects frogs, like stuff like that. I mean, I'm making that up,
right.
But it's ridiculous things that they're working on. But
academics? But are they really working on it?
No, I mean, not really working on it. And then they're like,
but that's our
I'm
money.
I'm a professor of such and such, and I am okay. You know what? I need you to go outside and cut the grass and, pick some strawberries and come in here and figure out how to use a toolbox and live an everyday life. But I read this and I'm an academic.
I don't know how to do that.
I'm going to go to Silicon Valley.
Okay, so speaking of academics, so my son, who went to a really good school, Penn State. Yeah. And I'm not going to call it out, but I just called it out.
I'm not going to call it out.
I dropped the name.
Yeah.
Penn State. He loved it. He loved his experience there. There was one little piece to it, though. He, in the middle of his, 5 years there, he became conservative. Okay. He's a journalist.
Okay.
He said, I cannot speak how I really feel because I will get flunked. He said, every one of these professors, they are absolutely not hiding their distaste for conservatism, Trump, any of this. And to me, that's happening everywhere. He said the fact that you are not able to feel okay in a journalist fucking course,
well,
to speak your mind, and the truth.
I don't want to devalue academics and teaching and educators because they are so valuable. But in a lot of ways, many of them are so extreme, and it's kind of like they do fall into that category of those who can do and those who can't teach, because they're sitting there teaching and they're not really doing it. They're just telling you
right,
what
but
you
there's
need
some
to do.
really amazing
Some of them are
ones.
amazing.
They are.
That's why
yeah.
I had to do the,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. It's kind of
but
like,
to pull their own agendas, and I feel like there's a huge pull in the academic world, that because where their money must be coming from. They're all, I wouldn't say all, there's a lot of them that are in alignment with that thinking. That's fine.
right.
But don't push it on everyone that comes, and
that's what
don't
they want to do though.
But I know. Well, that's what my point is
point.
that my own child could not be honest and truthful in a journalism.
So is that free speech then? No.
Well,
It is if you agree.
Admission.
If you agree. And I don't know, not to bring this up as a side thing, but it reminds me of that that documentary that was done, I think is it Matt? It was called "What Is a Woman?"
Oh, okay.
Matt
Walsh.
There were a bunch of professors that he visited, and he said, do you have a definition? What is it? And
Nobody could give that. Nobody could give it.
Like these high up professors,
right,
with all of these credentials and accolades, couldn't say it.
Right. No, I know. Well, we're going to end on that.
Okay.
We are going to end on that. So I hope we didn't bore you too much today, but we wanted to really talk about things that we see happening in our country, and just to again, do your own research. But just think before you get to people thinking, and not like just parroting what you're watching either on social media or what you're watching on the news or what somebody, your boss is telling you. Like,
well, I think it's lonely for people if they are thinking outside of their social group or a group that they want to belong to something. Most people do. We're humans. We're social creatures. We're group.
Right.
We like to be in groups. So it's more comfortable if you can feel like you're a part of something and you all agree versus I'm the loner out here. You've seen those memes where there's like one black
right. But here's the thing is that that's what these systems are counting on.
Yeah.
They are counting on people to be herded like sheep so that they can basically take all of our rights. You look at these
that's why this mine thing was a big one.
Yeah, I forget what those smart cities called, but they scare the shit out of me. Right? People wanting to get rid of regular cars and move to electric. Okay, maybe that sounds cool if I was 20, but guess what? If the grid shuts down, where nobody's going like that is again taking people's independence away. Your guns, your cars, like it is coming. I mean, and
it's a slow.
It is like China is buying up our country, our farmlands. I mean, there's so many different avenues that it's happening, and I would just suggest people, hey. You can roll your eyes at me all day long. That's fine. But if you haven't done your own research on, wait a minute, and it's so vast that I mean we could talk about so much of it, right? But the things that I'm passionate about are the ones that have affected me personally. COVID, obviously, you had leprosy because you didn't go get the fucking shot.
Right.
I mean, I even had to go get a fake vax card. Am I going to get arrested? Like, they can't do anything anymore, right?
Oh.
But I did to be able to go into a restaurant. Like, this is so fucked up. I mean, just think about the rules we had.
But think deeper. That was an experiment.
Of course.
They wanted to see, like, this
First
was like
of all,
a dry run.
How many people are going to
rehearsal?
Yeah, how many people are going to follow by it, and then they're going to be like the little mini enforcers.
So when we drop the big whammy, whatever they decide that is. Can you imagine? Just try to imagine. Most people, 90% of the people saying no.
Right.
No, just the word no.
Right.
No. They'd never get away with it.
Exactly. But that's what they're counting on. They are counting on what you said, people not wanting to stand out, being a fear,
ridicule.
But yes, but we have the ability to stop all this shit.
We do.
We just have to be strong and unanimous in wanting our freedoms. My sovereignty is everything to me.
Yeah.
And it should be everything to everyone else, but they just don't even see it.
And I can tell you, we talk a lot about spiritual things here. I can tell you, if you just start and say no, and really just have that courage about you, you are going to get some major divine support. You will get it. It will come.
And you'll also be helping other people do that. And that's kind of why I feel like we did start this is, look, I see a lot happening, and there's not a lot of people willing to take the risk and be the assholes talking about it, getting the bad comments, or you know what I mean?
Because of their job, or maybe they can't
or they
travel,
just don't want to put themselves out
they
there.
don't- Yeah.
Right? But this is really happening.
It's really happening.
It's really fucking
And
happening.
none of this means like you love Trump. I mean, it doesn't. I know plenty of people who don't, that have the same sentiment. It's you have to just start thinking for yourself and stop watching the news and just sit and think, does this make sense?
Does it make sense in long term, not just the short term, not the short,
Right.
like long term? What is this going to do for our population? Are my kids, all I want is that my kids have a lot of opportunity. When you are going down these routes, right, where we're really censoring people the way that have already been utilized and happened to us recently, right?
Yeah.
That's frightening to me. And I'm not afraid of hardly anything. I'm not. But because your sovereignty is everything. And without it, we're slaves.
And I'm so careful not to get into the whole cult mindset. If I feel for a minute I'm starting to be like a part of a group where, if you don't think this or think that, I just immediately pull away. I would much rather be alone.
Yes, yeah, me too.
Because then at least I'm fresh. I can stay fresh and absorb what's truth to me,
Right, same.
So
same.
I'm very careful not to do that group think thing.
Well, good. Me too.
Yeah.
But we just say, look at the information you're being given. And if you just look a little bit deeper, a lot of times you will see. And there are patterns to psyops. There are patterns to this brainwashing. I mean,
and it's okay to say, I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe, this didn't really happen. And this should have nothing to do with Trump or Biden. It should have to do with, freedom.
Well, and your humanness to be. Listen, I say I screw up. I don't screw up that often, but
I've never known you to screw up.
No, it just happens. Yeah, when I do.
When you drink tequila, that's
yeah. When I drink tequila, yeah. By the way, apparently it wasn't tequila because I tried it again last night and nothing. It didn't happen the way that it happened before. So it must have been a bad batch.
Must have been a bad batch of tequila or some other spirit.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, use your own mind, people, and start to look for the patterns of what communism looks like, what these brainwashing operatives look like, because they're everywhere. And I'm not trying to scare people, just trying to get our brains working to where we keep our freedom.
I'm going to put one last note in there. Mark was mentioning earlier. He said, a lot of people will say communism can work if you take greed and selfishness out of the equation. That's
the human experience.
Never, just so everybody knows, because there are a lot of young people out there that say, if it's done right,
right.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
in a utopian mindset, like hey, Heather,
right.
those who can, should do it, and those who can't, we should help them. That should happen. You should do that out of the goodness of your heart, not be forced to do it.
That's great in theory, but it does not. It's not been executed because we all have egos,
especially by the people who are pushing it.
Correct.
Those are the ones that are telling us to do it, and they're not doing it themselves. They want you to do it.
Right.
They want you to have no security, no cops, but then they're living behind their gated communities and their private security and whatever.
Exactly,
else. So,
and letting us all pay for it.
Communism. Everybody is never going to. Just so you know, it's never going to work. Never has, never will. It's responsible for millions and millions and millions of deaths.
Correct. All right, so we're going to end on that. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in.